Hey, 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 good Saturday morning, football fans. We got a lot of college football going on today. And I am Louis Diamond, and you are watching BettorCenter Live from our Las Vegas handicapping studios. And I am joined by some fabulous handicappers, three of them to be exact. Chip Chirimbes, Tony Gulledge, and Del Warfield back with us on the stage. And we got a lot of football to talk about, and we got some winners to get you. I'm glad you're joining us. So let's get right down to it. First, let's welcome the gentlemen. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lou.
Good morning, Louis.
All right, welcome back. And welcome back. Glad to see you back in the here. So let's get right down to it, gentlemen. And let's start with our first game on the schedule, and that will be with the Clemson Tigers. The big news of the day, actually yesterday, Trevor Lawrence will not be playing for Clemson as he is COVID positive. So he probably won't be in next week either. So pretty interesting scenario. Now to make up for that, backup quarterback DJ Ukulele. Tony, you can let us off with this. DJ Ukulele will be on the mound today for Clemson. And what are your thoughts on this game? I know you got a little background on this kid. What do you got?
Just a couple notes that he was a very highly recruited kid. The thing about a team like Clemson, when you take a starter out, you're not going to lose a ton, even at the quarterback. Obviously, he's not going. Lawrence is possibly the number one draft picks, but they're like three deep at every position on this team. They're completely loaded. And I did a phonetic spelling of this kid's name so I wouldn't butcher it. Uiagalelei is what I got. Clemson last week, 47-point favorites against Syracuse. They scored 47 points, didn't cover. I was very skeptical of that. Top-notch defense for Clemson. I definitely have that on my notes. Last year when they played Boston College, it was a 59-7 beating. So you have that going for it. What I'll note here, Boston College, they're 3-0 at home against the ACC, but they're not going to be at home today. They're going on the road. They looked great against Georgia Tech, 48-27 win. They've been awful all season running the football, Boston College, but last week they popped off for 260 yards against a pretty weak Georgia Tech team. But I think those problems running the ball will show back up against a tough Clemson defense. 24.5. This line dropped. I saw it up near 30 earlier before Lawrence was announced out. I think you're just getting the value for him not being there. I think Clemson, this is a situation where the other kids, everybody's going to know their star's not there, so you're going to get increased effort from everybody else on the field. Not the highest confidence play for me, but I definitely think Clemson has a little bit of oomph to it and line value. So I'm going to play Clemson here today for me. Clemson's my play.
All right. I am going in and out, so I don't mean to be rude on you here, Tony, but my video is going in and out. That being said, let's see if Chip, let me go right over to Chip on the game. Tony has Clemson. How about you, Chip?
Well, the last time we had a quarterback whose name I couldn't pronounce, we called him Tua. So we're going to call this one Eula, and we'll just go from there. There's only one side on this game. I think it's Clemson, regardless of who's quarterbacking. BC had a nice big win over a weak Georgia Tech team, and of course, Clemson has their eyes on the ring next week with the idea that they're going to have to go up against Notre Dame without Lawrence. So I think, like Tony had mentioned, I think that the rest of the campers will rally around the lamppost, and I expect Clemson to come up big here, and I expect their attention to be really, really focused.
All right, couple Clemson guys. Del, are you going to break the ice here, or what do you got?
I still definitely like Clemson here in this spot as well. It's hard to not take them. Boston College, I still don't see them being able to put up any points against Clemson's defense as well. As Tony said, still a highly recruited quarterback coming in. A backup quarterback at Clemson could still start at any other, ACC team like Duke, for example, So he's still very talented, still has a lot of weapons. I see, Clemson being able to, blow them out, easily cover the spread today.
All right. I will be the guy to buck the trend here a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to town on Boston College at all, but Boston College is in a role that they do very well in. The underdog road, the road underdog role, 19-7, their last 26 on the road as an underdog. But when you put road and grass together, that number shoots up for Boston College. And 18-7-1 as an underdog altogether. So I am going to have a little bit of love for Boston College, but it's tough when you're going to go to the powerhouse. So I'll just go ahead and move our next game on the schedule. And our next game on the schedule will be the Virginia Tech Hokies. And they are at the Louisville Cardinal. And the Virginia Tech is a 3.5-point favorite. And the total is 67.5. So Virginia Tech and Louisville. Let's start with you, Chip. What do you got?
This game last week we had against Virginia Tech, and that was great. And we had Louisville. They come up. Now it's flip sides. And my first question is, why did Virginia Tech come up favored at Louisville? Louisville has played so well at home in the past, and yet I just don't see that number. I think they're telling you Virginia Tech's defense is going to come to play. I like Virginia Tech in this contest. I really do. And the line has pointed me toward them. I think that it's very inviting to take Louisville plus the points.
They are 5-1 against the number, their last 6 home games. So you are right about that one, Chip. But Louisville doesn't have great numbers. To back statistically, trend-wise, I see a little over edge. How about you, Tony? What are you seeing with Virginia Tech and Louisville?
Yeah, Louisville 2-4, straight up 3-2-1 against the spread. I note here they have 2 straight ATS wins in the ACC. Last week they looked their best game all season that they played, 48-16 win over Florida State. Rush defense for Louisville is horrid. On the Virginia Tech side, they've just been disappointing. For me, it's been their defense that's come up bad. That game against North Carolina last week, 10-point favorite. So the 2 times Virginia Tech's been on the road, 10-point favorite at Wake, they lose straight up 23-16. That was a horrible effort last week. And then they were also 11-point favorites at Duke. They won the game but did not cover 38-31. I have defense shaky, and they have to avoid the turnovers. The Virginia Tech thinks they can come on the road and just drop the ball on the ground. I think they'll be in for a long day. I'm going to disagree here with Chip. I know where he's coming from on this. You would look at it and not think Virginia Tech. I just don't think they've given any respect to Louisville yet. And I just think this is a spot where at home they could probably play a sneaky game. I'm going to back Louisville in this contest, getting up 3.5 points at home.
All right, a little bit of Louisville, a little bit of dog here. All right, let me ask you, Del, you got any opinion on this game?
Yep, so I'm actually going to have to side here with Chip here. I actually like Virginia Tech in this matchup. Louisville, they finally got it together finally last week against Florida State. But, who hasn't gotten it together against Florida State? They have the potential there. They got a really good quarterback, really good running back, but they had a lot of turnover issues. They've been really inconsistent this year. I think I'm going to take the road favorite. Here's the better, overall team, in my opinion, more steady, not really turnover prone. I like Virginia Tech here.
Okay. Louisville as an underdog does not do very well. They're 7-16-1 as an underdog, and they are 6-16 against the number as an underdog at home. So you guys may be onto something. I have a little bit of love for the over. I missed it last week. Virginia Tech offense was definitely not productive. I think they get productive here today against Louisville, who has gone 9 out of their last 11 to the over. And I believe that the over will get you a cash here today. So Louisville love here. We got some over. So that being said, let's move on to our next game. And it's the Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech. The game was supposed to be at Penn Stadium, but due to the COVID regulations. They are playing this one at Georgia Tech at their home field. And so now we have Notre Dame is, they're a big favorite. And I don't have the number here. I'll get you the number here in a second. So
21.
Let's see what you guys got. I'll start with Chip. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech.
All right, I kind of like this matchup in spite of the way Georgia Tech's been playing. They got killed by Boston College last week and annihilated by Clemson 2 weeks ago. And I guess this is a good measurement for a team that will have played both Clemson and Notre Dame, who meet next week. We know that Clemson already annihilated Georgia Tech, but the difference here is the Irish may have their eyes on the Tigers right now. They may be looking ahead a little bit. And, Georgia Tech coming home is going to have to gather their forces. I think that Boston College game last week they were still in shell shock after the way they got beat up by Clemson. And I think this is a week that they're going to come. I don't think they can possibly win this game, but I think they can stay within this margin. As the Irish, by the way, are 5-0, but their opponents, their combined record is 8-22. They haven't really played anybody. They played 3 teams with 1 win, and Pittsburgh's the best team that Notre Dame has played so far, and they're not even at 500. So I can see this being a close game, closer than most people think, because Notre Dame's actually looking forward to next week's game against Clemson.
They got a little eye of the tiger going, so a little look ahead maybe for Notre Dame. The line is 20 and a half. So, and there's actually some steam on it right now, a little bit of steam. The total is now at 58 and a half. Del, do you have anything Notre Dame, Georgia Tech?
Up at around 56 and a half, now steamed up to 58 and a half. I like this game going over today. Georgia Tech, dead over team this season, 5-0, all over today, or all over on the season so far. Both got explosive offenses. Georgia Tech is able to move the ball on offense as well. They had a little bit of turnover issues. But, I mean, both teams can move the ball. I see a lot of points in this matchup. I see this as like a 45-24 game. I see Notre Dame winning, but I'm taking the over here. I got about 10 points in value. I see this as like a 69 point game. So I like this over.
All right. A little bit of over from Dell. And I actually got a vibe with you on the over here. I don't like playing a Notre Dame game over, but this could be the spot for them to hit the over. Notre Dame does lead this series 28-6-1, so they've dominated them very well. And I believe we got Tony left. Tony, what do you think? Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, I believe you got to play here, don't you?
Yeah. Notre Dame, I'm just going to note, I've been doing well bouncing back and forth with these guys, fading them. And then last week we hopped on them with a 9.5 point spread at Pittsburgh. Just felt that was a good spot for them to explode. They did. This is a lot of points for Notre Dame to be giving up. I noted Georgia Tech completely crushed the last 2 games. So if there's any line value, it is going to be pushed their way. And I think Notre Dame, with the way they looked last week, will boost it. So you get both ends of that line value spectrum. Notre Dame, Chip beat me to it. Looking ahead to the big game next week, definitely a perfect spot for them to be a little bit flat, maybe come out not quite ready to play, exert themselves on defense in the second half, come out here with a win. I'm looking for something a little closer, way closer than 20. So I'm taking Georgia Tech in those points today.
All right. So it looks like Georgia Tech has gotten some BettorCenter love today. And I won't disagree with that love. And the over has a little bit of love as well. And I'm not going to disagree with that one either. So little Georgia Tech and over today for your Saturday afternoon football. And next game on the schedule will be Charlotte. And Charlotte. There's a big team that we always seem to want to back, right? Anyways, they are at Duke. Duke, a 10.5 point favorite. Line goes from 56 down to 55. If you've been watching me, you know I'm really interested in playing a Duke game over, and I'm interested in this one over today. Like to see your opinion on this game, guys. I'll go right back to you, Tony. Duke and Charlotte, what do you got here today?
Yeah, this is one of my action plays, just something to get the whistle wet, I guess. Not a big play for me here, but Duke, the situation sets up well for them from this perspective that Charlotte has won their last 2 games. Didn't cover against UTEP, I don't believe. I think they were giving up more points than the 10 they won by. Duke, abysmal. But what they do have going for them is the ability to push the ball on offense. The way I view this, if Duke doesn't turn the ball over, this is going to be an easy cover for them. The only way this game is going to be competitive if the quarterback for Duke continues his issues with the turnovers. I think this is a perfect spot to play Duke. Not going to get many of them for a bad team, but I like this spot for Duke at home. Lay the points.
I tend to feel the same way for you. This is the opportunity for Duke to actually play an inferior opponent. They've had some pretty tough competition, and this might be a spot for them to take off on something. So they've been playing well, even though they're 1-5. They had some tough competition. So I'll tend to agree with you there, but I'll always look to play that over. So Chip, what about you? Any opinion here with Duke and Charlotte today?
Yeah, I think I didn't do all that much work on this game, but I think Tony's analysis was right on. And I think Duke, who we've done fairly well with this year, is in a position where they can finally beat somebody up, like Tony said, if they hang on to the football. Turnovers have been atrocious for this team this season, and that's probably been their biggest issue as they move forward. But I think they're a side here with this number and the fact that they're playing against an opponent that they can handle.
Okay. And let's close it off here with Tal. What do you have? Charlotte, Duke, any opinion at all?
So I initially did like Duke when the line first came out. I think I saw it at 10.5 or 11. It moved down to 10. That kind of scared me off because a lot of the action is actually coming on Duke. I kind of thought this was going to be a cakewalk, easy cover for them. But that reverse line movement kind of scared me off of it. Kind of made me just not want to touch this game at all. So I'm completely off this game now. Duke should be able to just walk all over them, but that movement, it pushed me off of it. So I got to stay away myself.
All right. Well, the 49ers, they do well versus a team with a losing record. They're 8-2 against the spread, and they're 5-1 as an underdog. So if Duke is to get that today, we're going to have to overcome that a little bit. But Duke, they are strong in the non-conference games, 36-15-1 against the number, their last 52 non-conference games. So you got to take that into account. They just don't do well as a home favorite. 2-8, the last 10 games as a home favorite. So I will look to play this a little bit on the over. I do kind of like your Duke, but I will probably just mess around with them in a teaser. All right, so next game on the schedule is going to be the Indiana Hoosiers, and they showed Penn State who their daddy was last week, and now they're playing Rutgers, another team that actually wound up getting the big upset win. Two teams with big upset wins last week. Now they match, and these are fairly weak teams that are maybe up and coming. We'll see. Indiana -13. Again, Rutgers, the total's 53. Tony, fire away.
Yeah, Indiana off that huge win. Penn State came back, forced overtime. I thought they got a fortuitous call on that 2-point conversion. From my eyes, that ball hit the ground and bounced into the pylon, but they didn't reverse the call. Indiana got out of there with a huge win against a ranked team at home. Rutgers got the win against Michigan State. I tell you, this Michigan State team always disappoints. I'm not completely shocked that Rutgers won that game. I've been cashing against Michigan State for a few years where they're just favorites, too many points, and there's been games where Michigan State's been favored by double digits, and they barely scored double digits. They lost 38-27. I love this spot for Rutgers, especially coming back home against a team that won at home traveling. The value here for me is definitely on the home side. This 13 points looks very good. The key is going to be Indiana's defense. I just don't think they're that great. They gave up a lot of yards to Penn State. I think Rutgers can control the ball, keep this game close, and let's see what Indiana can do on the road. Can they follow up what they did last week at home on the road? I think this number is just way too ambitious. I'm going to take Rutgers in the points.
All right, grabbing that home dog, double-digit home dog, and really after the two matchups from last week, I can't blame you. Can you, Del?
Yeah, no, not at all. Rutgers, they dominated Michigan State last week too. They won the first half and the second half outright as well. So, double-digit dog just dominating a team that they should have been blown out by, right? So Rutgers looking amazing. As far as actually laying money on this game, I'm not really going to be laying money or picking a side for a bet, but I do lean Rutgers here. I think this line's a little bit inflated at 13. I do like the points. I like the home dog. I'm not going to be betting it personally, but I mean, if I had to choose, I'll pick Rutgers here. Really exciting team to kind of watch and see how they play today going forward.
All right, a little bit of Rutgers, and once again, I can't blame you. I don't see how Indiana can respond this week after Rutgers beating Michigan State is not Indiana beating Penn State, and that was a big win for Indiana. It's going to be tough for them to pull it together 2 weeks in a row. What do you think, Chip?
Well, interesting matchup. Like you said, both teams are huge underdogs and pulled outright upsets. Well, Rutgers was double-digit underdog. I believe Indiana was only about a 7. But, in this game, Indiana may have won the game, but they were totally dominated. Penn State misses 3 field goals attempt, has 3 turnovers, commits 10 penalties, and they held the Hoosiers to 41 yards rushing in 29 attempts. Indiana had virtually they had 205 yards total offense. They were outgained by over 200 yards, and now they come up 13-point favorite over the Scarlet Knights, who broke a 22-game Big Ten losing streak. What they're doing in the Big Ten, Lou, we have no idea right now. Of course, it's all about money. But this game seems so strange to me that Indiana would be such a huge favorite over a team that performed a big upset. My instincts say I'd like to lay it, but I'm not exactly a Jersey guy, but I'll take the University of New Jersey here plus the points against Indiana. I just think that Indiana may be fooling the odds makers and the public right now. They won the game, but like I said, they really didn't show much last week. They got a couple of real big breaks and 10 penalties by Penn State, 3 turnovers, 3 missed field goals. That was the key to that game.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Chip, with this one, because Indiana, they did win. They won in a surprising, amazing fashion. But they didn't do squat all game. They only got like 211 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
So very, very lucky to come out with a win. Now they got their press all week. They're all hyped up like they're going to be something. And now they're going to face Rutgers. And you want to know something? They just may lose outright. So we'll see what happens here today on that game. But so we're all in alignment here with Rutgers here today, plus the 13 points. So, guys, take a look at that. We're in alignment. Listen, when we're in alignment, we've done all right, guys. Yeah, we've done all right. So I look for that. All right. So, all right, let's go to our the Big Ten game here today. Quite possibly the game of the day, and that's Ohio State. They're a 10.5-point favorite at Penn State, and the total 64. Now is Penn State going to be able to rebound after such a disappointing loss? Now they have no running back. They're on the 3rd-string running back today. So, Tony, what do you have in the Ohio State-Penn State game?
Yeah, go right back to this one. Now we're getting to the games I like a little bit better here. Penn State noticed that 36-35 loss. Chip brought it up. They shut down Indiana. I had 211 yards of offense they gave up, only 41 on the ground. So, yes. And Penn State, 488 yards of offense. It was just the turnovers and the missed opportunities. Now they're coming back home. Ohio State, although they covered and won 52-17 against Nebraska, I thought their defense was a little shaky, particularly against the run. Ohio State gave up 210 yards rushing to Nebraska. It was a lot of cosmetic work. Like, if you watch that game, the way it finished for Ohio State to cover, it was just highly unusual. Nebraska just basically spit the bit toward the end. I don't think you'll see Penn State spit the bit here. They're getting a lot of points at home off a disappointing loss. Basically, if Penn State can just simply not crumble like they did in key spots against Indiana, they're back home. I think that's going to help them. I love Penn State in this spot getting this point, so Penn State's going to be a play for me.
I don't know. No running game today. That worries me a lot with Penn State. Ohio State going to put them points on the board. Chip, how about you? What are your thoughts?
I love this game. And this is one of my top releases. And as you know, I've had 7 consecutive winning Saturdays, 28 wins, 9 losses over that period of time, 5-2 last week. This is going to be one of my top plays. And the other thing I'm wondering about is, are the criminals on Ohio State, do they understand that they're going to Penn State and not to the state pen? So be careful here what you're doing when you get to Pennsylvania, because there may be an ambush here. But then again, you never can tell between these two teams. I'm looking forward to a great game. And Tony, I like the tie.
Thanks. It's one of my father's.
You guys are making
ties.
me look bad. I'm gonna have to start wearing a tie. Somebody told me I should wear a tie.
I inherited all my ties from my father. I don't think I've ever bought a tie in my life, but I've got about 50 that belong to my dad, so I'm good.
So your dad liked to roll the dice?
He did a little bit of everything. My dad was definitely I got my inspiration to be kind of a risky guy from him. I'll definitely say that. He lived it to the fullest.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, my dad the same, but my dad was the horse player. So loved the horses, bet them every day. So which made me learn how to love sports instead, because horses are tough, real tough.
God.
Yeah. All right, guys. So hey, Eugene, you got a little clip from what we did yesterday, because I want people to see that we can put some stuff together here, guys, and keep you making money. If you got it, Eugene, let's roll that real quick. No?
No clip.
All right, well, no clip today. All right. So today, and so let's just move on to the next game. That was Eugene, guys. Say hello. All right, so our next game, Purdue. Another Big Ten game. Purdue, they beat Iowa at home. Remember, Iowa as a road favorite did not hit for us last week, Tony. We drilled it into everybody's head, and we got spanked on that one. Yeah, that's going to happen when we do this every day. Yeah. So, but Purdue's now a 7-point favorite. They got some love this week. A little bit of move on them. They are total is 57.5, and they're playing Illinois. Illinois has been a team I've been riding since last year. They've actually been covering some numbers. So let me start with Dell. You have anything here? Purdue and Illinois.
Aside on picking on this game, but I think Purdue's a little bit overpriced because they did upset Iowa last week. So kind of the same boat. I have been loving Illinois as a dog, especially. So if I was to make a pick, I'll definitely lean Illinois here on the side. But I'm staying away from this game personally. See what you guys got.
All right. Actually, that line, Purdue's been all the way steamed up to 8.5. I'm even seeing 9 over at Pinnacle right now. So a lot of love there for Purdue. Not from me. How about you, Chip? Any love there?
Well, I know that if you've been winning with the Illini, it hasn't happened this season. They lost 45-7 against the Badgers of Wisconsin last week. As a matter of fact, they tallied 1 touchdown. That was on a 39-yard fumble return. This Illinois team, maybe they just not the same as they have been in the past. They have provided winners for us, like you said. But their offense is just atrocious. They had 218 yards total offense last week, 88 yards passing, only 8 first downs. Now, Purdue comes up with the big upset at home against Iowa. In the fourth quarter, they rally from a deficit. But I don't know if emotionally the Boilermakers can be ready for an Illini team that certainly has to rally the forces here after that horrid performance the first time out. But I couldn't take Illinois here. I wouldn't at all if I played it. In spite of what I just told you, I would take Purdue. And they did have 282 yards passing last week. Maybe the likes of the Drew Breeses and the Greaseys will come back to Purdue's status. But right now, it's just a small lean due to the fact that Illinois was so weak last week, or so poor, shall we say, on offense.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, when I've been playing Illinois, I've been plugging my nose. There's no doubt about that. I haven't touched them much this year, but last year they did cover some numbers and they made us some nice money. Can't remember what I was following, but I was following them and they made me some money last year. I'll have to look at that schedule. So, all right, Tony, how about you? Anything here at Purdue and Illinois?
Yeah, nothing you can say positive about Illinois' first game, the only game they played, that opener, 45-7 loss. Chip hit all the numbers. He has them beat me to it again. 218 yards of offense, just not going to get it done. Their defense was crushed. What I will note from Wisconsin's point of view of that game was the upset from the previous year, the 24-23. Illinois came back, beat Wisconsin. Perhaps that put them, in the bullseye to get crushed the way they did. But Wisconsin last week literally scored every time they had the ball. It was, Illinois looked so bad. But if you know me as a handicapper, I love these kind of situations, particularly getting a season started. Illinois on the road could not have looked any worse. I don't think any possible way they could have looked worse. They totally looked like dog shit, but they're coming back home. Purdue last week did what, upset Purdue. They got the job done. They were at home, big win. Now they go on the road. I just love that situation, and I like it when you can get points. You're talking about they're steaming Purdue. To me, I kind of like that a little more because they're going on that perception of how bad Illinois is. Not my biggest level of confidence in this play, but I certainly think Illinois is worth playing today. So I'm taking Illinois in the points here.
All right, I got somebody on my side. And by the way, I did play Illinois. Now that you mentioned it against Wisconsin, I had a bet with my buddy. I didn't want to go to town on it, but I owe him a little weed.
Lou, you said you've had some wins with Illinois in the past, and maybe the fact that the thing I was so shocked about in their first game minutes against Wisconsin, but they had 25 returning seniors. And sometimes you can say there's good news and bad news. The good news is they're coming back. The bad news is they can't play. So Illinois is in a tough spot right now.
Well, the good news is, that 25 returning players are coming back, and the bad news is that 25 returning players are coming back. So, yes. Tough. You got to plug your nose with the Illini. What is an Illini? Do we even know?
It's an Indian.
Indian, some kind of really? Indian.
Yeah,
I think.
Is it?
Yes.
All right. Well, all right. What's a Hoosier?
A basketball player.
Yeah, that's the best I know.
All right, guys. All right. So, let's hit our next game on the schedule. We got a couple left to go through here today. Let's get them some winners here today, guys. So, good stuff so far. I like what we're putting together, and let's keep it going. And let's go with that big AAC game here today. Memphis at Cincinnati. Cincinnati 6.5-point favorite. At least they were a few minutes ago. Total's 56.5. Double revenge for Cincinnati right now. Knocked out of the last game of the season by Memphis. Knocked out of the bowl game by Memphis back-to-back weeks. So they've had this game circled. So this has got to be an exciting one. What do you guys think? Let's start with you, Tony.
Down the double revenge for Cincinnati. They're 4-0, 2-2, only 2-2 against the spread. Big win, 42-13. Although I'll note that the actual game wasn't as bad as the outcome, but near the end, their defense just clamped down, and SMU kept going for it on fourth down and not getting it, so it kind of blew up the final score. The defense for Cincinnati is tough. Only 75 yards rushing against SMU. 290. They held SMU to 290 total yards, which if you look at the other SMU games, that's actually a very good job. And I have defense for Cincinnati strong in capital letters. So Cincinnati defense for me is the key of the game. Memphis 3-1 straight up, only 1-3 against the spread. They were laying 14 points and only won by 12 against Temple. I've noticed the Memphis defense is awful. They lost on the road at SMU 30-27. And then 50-49 win against UCF, but they gave up 800 yards of offense. So Memphis just gives up these gigantic chunks of yards. Cincinnati with the motivation, Cincinnati off the big win. Cincinnati probably looking for this I'm going to be honest, their offense to me is not great, but it's good enough. With the defense they have, I think they're going to give Memphis more than they can handle. Give me Cincinnati, and I really like this game. Cincinnati for me.
All right. I'm feeling a little bit of your Cincinnati love as well. How about you, Chip? What are you feeling?
First off, I love this game. I don't like the fact that Memphis beat Cincinnati twice last year to close the season out, because I actually had the Bearcats both of those losses. Now I got a chance to get some redemption here. But, this game is starting at noon Eastern, and we know the Cincinnati team is good. Ross had turned me on to their defense earlier in the year. They just – I like the way they play, but I'm surprised, Memphis, that this line is so low. Memphis just doesn't stop anybody. They don't tackle anybody at all. And I was also surprised that this line, the total was as low as it is, because both these teams are offensive juggernauts. There's plenty of speed out there on both sides. And I think the Cincinnati defense is probably what's keeping this number so low. I can understand wanting to go towards Cincinnati. I mean, the way they beat SMU last week, but maybe the Tigers, maybe Memphis has their number, because the Tigers will beat a Bobcat anytime, or a Bearcat, shall I say. So I lean toward the dog here, but I wouldn't play this game. It's a great game to watch without question. And Tony, I wish you luck.
Thank you, Chip.
All right, Del, do you have an opinion on the game?
Yeah, so I'm going to be on Cincinnati as well. I actually love this game too. I love Cincinnati here. You guys kind of mentioned it as well. Cincinnati's kind of leaning on that defense. You have that three-headed monster in the conference, which is Memphis, SMU, and Cincinnati. Two of those teams don't play defense at all, Memphis and SMU. So you got actual, defensive-minded team that's pretty good on offense as well. Can move the ball and score themselves. So I like Cincinnati here. Their common opponent this year was SMU. Memphis took the loss, and just last week, Cincinnati had a double-digit blowout win against SMU. Probably, points showed more, as Tony said, going for around fourth down and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely like Cincinnati here at 6.5. Open up at 6, I believe. So the line's moving in the right direction. Love Cincinnati here.
All right, some Cincinnati love, and you know what? I'm going with that Cincinnati love as well. I kind of think that Memphis, after beating them twice, I think the numbers actually inviting you to take the dog here, and I don't think the dog gets to bark here today. I think Cincinnati gets their revenge, and they have the better ball club. They have a defense versus non-defense, so I think that's going to play. And the under, I see the under as a play here today as well. 9 out of the last 10 home games for Cincinnati have gone under. 43-20-1 to the under their last 64 games overall. So Cincinnati, you're always looking to play them under. And I do believe this is a spot for them. They have 4 out of the last 5 have gone under. So I like Cincinnati and under here in this matchup. Now, Del, we got I know you have a play here that you'd like to talk about. We don't have on our schedule, but I know you got a little love for Florida today. You want to give us a little background on that one?
Yeah, so I definitely do love Florida today. Ever since, week 1, I kind of been on that Florida train. I thought the last game that they played against, I think it was Texas A&M, right? It looked like a really trap game. So we kind of stayed away from, we faded them on that one. So I love Florida here. Line open up at 12.5 up to 14 now. So the line's moving in the right direction. Being a double-digit favorite, 2-touchdown favorite, the line actually makes sense. It's moving in the right direction. They should have no issues at all dealing with, is it Missouri or Missouri? I can't tell. They're miserable anyway. So, great team versus bad team, double digits. Line makes sense. I love Florida here, -14. Should be able to cover this spread pretty easily.
All right. Del's got a little love on the Gators. And Tony, do you have any opinion on the game?
Man, nothing I can say more than Del. Missouri, bad team. Florida, it looks like a great spot for them. I agree with Del wholeheartedly here.
All right, Chip.
No, I'm not using the game at all. I really have no interest in it. I have some other strong factors out there that I'm relying on today.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us about them and tell them how they can get a hold of you, Chip, so they can get those games?
Well, I'll tell you something. I have a game that is so totally out of this world, and I'm going to deem it my really. I'm going to deem it my alien play of the week. Hold on one second.
Hold on.
This game is out of this world. It's an alien winner.
I love it, Chip.
Don't miss it. Chip wins.
I love it, Chip. That is awesome. I need one of those. He's got to go with my buddy over here. That is great.
Out of the world.
That's right. Winners from out of this world, baby. All right, Chip. Welcome to the club, baby. We've been expecting you. All right, that was nice. I like that. Beautiful. All right. So someday we'll have to have that alien conversation. Maybe we'll have it here and just really rip the filters off everybody's eyes. But we'll save that for another day. Let's get on to our next game. And what the hell is it? Our next game? Okay, guys, I'll have it here in a second for us. We're going to go with the Texas Longhorns, and they're at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State a 3.5-point favorite. The total's 58.5. You've been following me and what I've been saying all year. Oklahoma State over at home. It's the only way to go. 0-3 this year. Nothing but unders at Oklahoma State. Man. All right, so I have to kind of back off my Oklahoma State over at home. But, man, I don't know how I don't play it here again today. But let's see if anybody else has an opinion on this game. Let's start with you, Tony.
Yeah, Oklahoma State 4-0, straight up 3-1 against the spread. Last week, they were laying the 2.5 points, got the cover against a pretty good Iowa State team. Iowa State got the late touchdown, but Oklahoma State was far enough out in front to where they still got the cover. 3 straight wins for Oklahoma State, straight up and against the spread. That 16-7 win against Tulsa, that first game, doesn't look as bad as it looked initially. So defense strong for Oklahoma State. I've got that as another note. Texas 3-2, 1-3-1 against the spread. The push came last week. 11-point favorites against Baylor, 27-16 final. Texas has not covered a spread since the very first game of the season when they were 45-point favorites and a 59-3 win against UTEP. Defense horrible. Great spot for Oklahoma State. Lines not even that much. Texas obviously getting a little bit of respect on the name here. This should be a touchdown spread at least. I think Oklahoma State gets a 10-point win. No problem. Oklahoma State from me.
All right, some Cowboys for our cowboy. How about you, Chipper?
Well, I have an opinion on this game as well, and I'm not exactly enamored with Tony's side. I'm sorry, Tony. I know this Texas team has been very disappointing. I did lay 9.5 last week. We laid it early, so I didn't get a push out of that Texas win over Baylor. They won by 11. I did get the win in that game. But I can see Texas being an underdog at Oklahoma State here really raises an eyebrow for me. Oklahoma State, of course, the defense is the key with them. We know Mike Gundy has them rearing to go. They've beaten Texas 7 of the last 10 times they played them in a series that the Longhorns dominated for 3 decades. So I think the line at 3.5 is where it's supposed to be. I know you guys might think it's a little bit higher. You may not have the kind of respect for Texas defense that you could accord them, but they really don't stop many people. It's an offensive game now. I think they had the experience and the quarterbacking to keep this one close. I would play the Longhorns here. I think there is a lot of people that have gravitated to Oklahoma State this season, maybe because there was no Big Ten or Pac-12 out there to compare them with. But we'll have to wait and see here. This is a big test for the Cowboys, and I know people are looking forward to them coming out of the Big 12. We'll see what happens.
All right. So we got a little Texas love there. Dell, are you going to be the rubber match winner here? What do we got?
Yep. So I'm going to have to, step on that rubber match here and actually agree with Chip here. Literally everything he was going to say, I was going to say too. So, I mean, just copy and paste what Chip said and put him in front for me, right? So Oklahoma State is led by their defense this year. They have all the, the parts to an explosive offense, but they just have not looked good at all this year as well, on offense as well. So I like Texas here at that plus 3.5. I actually think that they might have potential to even win outright with that low line. You have the number 6 team in the nation at home, only a 3.5 point, favorite against, Texas, right? So I like Texas here at 3.5 points, Got to ride with the dog
Kinda,
here.
yeah.
Love the Longhorns.
All right, you guys are kind of convincing me a little bit. I just don't want to play Oklahoma State laying points when their offense has been fairly inept right now. The Longhorns are only 1-4 the last 5 times that they've met. The favorites 8-3 though. The road team 10-3, and the over has hit 7 out of the last 8 in Oklahoma State. But I am not believing in those trends here this year with these teams, and I am going to pass on this game. But looks like we got some Longhorn love from the BC crowd, except for Tony. He's going to go against them. So, all right, next game on the schedule is going to be TCU and Baylor. I know we don't have it on our schedule, but I know you have a little love in this game, Del, so why don't you fire away on this one?
Yes, I initially did like Baylor last night when we were talking about games, but this morning I was looking at them again, and it pushed me off of it. So I'm actually not going to be taking Baylor anymore. I know I said it last night, but I'm staying away now.
Okay.
I was looking at it today. I mean, TCU's opponents this year were, really good opponents. I mean, they both got losing records, but the line opened up from a pick to a -3 for TCU. That pushed me away. It scared me away. I'm actually going to be staying away from this game now. Sorry about that, Louis.
No worries. All good. Any of you guys have an opinion on the game real quick? Or our last one?
No.
I'm done.
I love that. You hear that, guys? Money. Money just came in. I'm making money while we're making money. Gotta love that, guys. All right. Let's get to our last game on the schedule. UNC. They are 7.5-point favorites. They are at Virginia. Virginia totally let me down last week when I was rolling with an over. They didn't do much of anything. Total is 61. Now, let's go to Tony. That's your area. That's your neck of the woods. Get us started out there in an ACC matchup.
Yeah, I really like this game today. North Carolina, I've done well with them. You just got to pick your spots with this team, okay? They're 0-2 against the spread on the road. That doesn't look good, but from my eyes, I think that sets the situation up for them perfectly. This is a good offensive team, North Carolina. Opportunistic defense. They're a bend but don't break defense, but high octane offense, so they can move the ball quick, put pressure on the other team. Virginia, like the similar situation here. They're 1-1 at home against the spread, but that one win covering was the first game of the season against Duke, where Duke just gave them the game with turnovers. The last time they were favored against NC State, and I know here on the show we gave out NC State in that game. NC State 38-21 win at Virginia. Similar type of scenario for me. Virginia's offense is not good enough to hang with this North Carolina team. So what I see happening is they're going to fall behind and need to press. And when they start to press, they're going to do what they do every game I've watched them, is turn the ball over. They just lack that competency to line up, snap the ball, and look clean. I watched Virginia several times, and they struggle getting the plays in, moving people in and out. Just a terrible team to watch. Just a congruency. It's just not a clean product. And that offense is just not that good. So I expect North Carolina to get out in front, Virginia to press, make mistakes, North Carolina get the ball, take advantage. I'm actually going to put a score here. This is my best bet of the day.
Here we go.
I don't know why I'm going to do this, but North Carolina over Virginia, 34-16. That's my play in this one.
34-16. Listen, Tony, you've nailed some. You haven't given us many scores, but when you have, you pretty much nailed them. You nailed that Coastal Carolina a few years ago, right on the number. Crazy score. Then you almost got it Monday night. You gave us a 23-10, and the game wound up 24-10. And now you're giving us a score with UNC and Virginia. Give me that score again.
34-16, North Carolina.
Remember that score, guys. We're going to have a highlight tomorrow. 34-16, North Carolina. That looks like an under, and I don't like playing Virginia games under at all. In fact, they're 10-1 to the over their last 11 games. So I'm always looking to play a Virginia game over. I don't think it's here, though. 10-4-1 to the under the last 15 meetings. Chip, you got any love on this game at all?
Yes, I
UNC
do.
Virginia. Oh,
Yes, I
nice.
do. And I believe your highlight reel tomorrow is going to be on the Virginia victory. I'm 5-0 this year with North. How you like that, guys? 5-0 this year with North Carolina sides on and against, and 3-0 with Virginia on and against this season. Had a great run. I see this game playing tight. Here's Virginia, who played in the ACC championship game last year. Got off to a terrible start, like Tony had alluded to. They just haven't really put it together. Last week, by the way, when I think the whole show was riding Miami, I had Virginia as the best bet of the entire weekend. They were never in doubt. They covered against the Hurricanes, and I think they come back at home and do it again. Only one win in the conference so far. I'm not saying North Carolina's not good. I think they're really good, particularly their power game. And their quarterback, Hall, is going to be a pro at some time. But I think this is a spot for Virginia. I think that there's just so much love for the Tar Heels. Sorry, Tony, I have to do it. I have Virginia.
Well, somebody's hitting the highlight reel tomorrow. I can tell you that. All right, Del, what do you got for the highlight reel on this one today?
All right, so no highlights for me, unfortunately. I think UNC is going to be the play here. I like the movement from 6 over that key number of 7. It's at 7.5 right now. I definitely recommend buying it back down to 7, hit that -120. I don't really see Virginia being able to cover this game. North Carolina has looked really good this year on both sides of the ball. Their offense is explosive, really great quarterback play as well. Two teams are kind of trending in the opposite direction, right? North Carolina has looked like contenders this year, at least in the ACC. And Virginia is just looking horrible. They have a really horrible offense this year, really turnover prone, especially playing from behind. I mean, you watched that game against NC State. That quarterback was just chucking it up, in the third quarter, even just, praying. So I think UNC is a really good play here. I like them. Virginia, great defense, yes, but that offense is horrible. I don't really see them putting up much points. So I'm going to be riding with Tony here with North Carolina -7, buying down.
All right. So, Chip, you're up against the wall. Let's see what you can do. I'm not going to take a side, so I'm not going to go 3-1 against you. So I am actually just going to pass on this play, and I'm going to look to see what your most interesting plays are, so you can give me a winner here right now that I can tie in with it. So, Del, most interesting play of the day. What do you got?
All right, so for my most interesting play of the day today, I'm actually going between Navy and SMU. I like this game going over today. Line opened up at 58.5, moved up a little bit up to 59, but it's a reverse line movement. 65% of those bets are actually on the under today, yet that line moved up a half point. So I love the reverse line movement. This is kind of everything that I look for in a game is inside this game today. SMU, really explosive offense, really horrible defense. I don't see that defense being able to stop the Navy's triple option. I see a lot of points in this game. I actually see it in the 70s. So getting 58.5 or 59 now. Love this game over. Favorite play today, most interesting play of the day.
All right. Well, Navy certainly has given up plenty of points to give you a reason to want to play them in an over scenario. Obviously, they're a road dog. That is most definitely a scenario. You're a little bit behind the move at this stage of the game. All right. So, Tony, it's time for your most interesting game of the day.
Yeah, we're going to go with some plays I gave you. We're going to cut the lines out and go with a money line parlay. North Carolina, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State should get you about 3-1 on your money. Almost like one of your teasers, except Oklahoma State, not quite laying that many. So that's going to be my most interesting play. Let's try to get a 3-1 ticket. North Carolina, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State on the money line. That's my most interesting play of the day.
Yeah, right. I'm kind of feeling some of that, and I'll tell you in a minute how well I'm feeling some of that. But let's get Chip's most interesting play of the day from him. What do you got, Chipper?
Well, I have a game that we haven't even mentioned, we haven't even talked about yet, and oh my goodness. I have an unranked team who lost last week on the road. We have West Virginia, who got beat by Texas Tech last week, going home and is now favored over a ranked Kansas State, who's met every challenge they've come to this season. They've beaten Oklahoma. They've got big wins on their side, and they're 3.5 to 4.5 point underdog at West Virginia. West Virginia's a monster at home. They're 5 now. Well, there you go. I don't know why. I think that the money should be coming on the Wildcats. And I think West Virginia's the side here. I think that the odds makers aren't making a mistake compared to the pollsters. I would much rather trust the odds makers and what they know. And for this unranked team to be favored coming home, they've played well at home. They beat Baylor at home. They're atrocious on the road. They're already 0-2 on the road, are the Mountaineers. I think West Virginia is the play here, and I think they beat Kansas State handily.
All right. Well, that is an interesting outlook, and that definitely feeds right into it. Why is this unranked team not only a favorite, but now they're getting steamed as a favorite? So that's when you know that more than likely the steam is the right side. So, and I will agree with you on that one. So that being said, I am going to give you my most interesting play, and that is also going to come in the teaser format, not the money line, but you can do the money line as well because they're probably, you want to see which one will pay you a little bit better depending on your lines. But I'm going to roll with the North Carolina that Tony gave us as well. We're going to tease them down. And then we are also going to tease Georgia Tech. Get them points there up to 26. We're going to roll with them. Then we're going to take Rutgers. We're going to take them up to 19 points. Then we're going to roll with Cincinnati. They will win the game outright. And actually, you can key Cincinnati however you want to key them in your teasers this weekend. If you can throw them in there, they'll get the win here today. I think they'll get the cover, but they'll definitely get the win. So all that being said, you've got plenty of winners here today from BettorCenter Live. We went a little long. I appreciate you guys sticking around, and hopefully you'll take advantage of some of these winners that I know we got you here today. So for the BettorCenter crew and myself, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, and we'll be back here again tomorrow. Now, tomorrow we're going to be here at 8 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to get Brad in here to host the show and get you some more winners in the NFL. So that being said, have a great day. Hope you have lots of winners. We'll see you tomorrow morning on BettorCenter Live.